everybody. Welcome to the November edition of In Stitches with Mary. I'm glad you're joining me. I am Mary and I have got some holiday projects here to get you inspired for Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up. For a couple of projects I want to highlight, I've got my little Gobble Time Turkey here made from felt. We've got a little grab and go bowl I think is going to be fun. And then of course my featured project, which is our Merry Checkered Christmas quilt. Just a cute little one, and it is perfect for playing checkers with the kids, or chess if you would like. So let's get started and see how these go together. So the second project I wanted to show you here for November is our little Gobble Time Turkey. Okay, so basically to make this little gobbler, you are going to need my pattern, and that is $5. And that will give you the directions and the pattern pieces for cutting this out. You're going to need a variety of colors of felt for the tail and the body and that type of thing. You will need just some 9 by 12 sheets of felt. I chose to back mine with just this tan felt, and I just bought one 12 by 18 inch sheet of felt, and that worked. Then you're going to need some buttons. I found these little tiny buttons that work well for the turkey eyes, and then just some smaller 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch buttons to go down the body of our turkey, and then to accent on the tail. If you've got a button box with a variety of colors, that just makes our turkey a little more colorful, and that's what I did with this first turkey that I made. So dig into that box and see what you have. All right, the first thing you're going to want to do is to take your pattern piece, get that paper scissors out, don't use your good fabric scissors on this, and cut this out on the line. We're going to lay this on our fabric, and I went ahead and laid my color fabric right on top of my backing fabric. If you want to use the same color front and back, then make sure you buy two of the same color for both tails, a large tail and small tail. They both don't fit on one sheet. You'll need two of them then. Lay them on top of each other. I have a disappearing ink marker here. I found that worked really well, and trace around that. Trace around your tail and go all the way around. When you get done, don't cut on that line yet. All I want you to do is to just roughly separate the excess felt and leave it like that, and leave both layers together, because we're going to take it to the sewing machine and sew it first before we cut it exactly on that line. You're going to do the same thing with the small tail, and then with the wings, if you're using the same color front and back on your green wings, which is what I chose, we'll just let that fly. Go ahead and cut. You need 4 wings, 2 for each side, and make sure that you get a left and a right wing. So you're going to want to trace around one, then flip it over and trace around the other. So you have a left and a right. The body, I chose this little cinnamon brown color for the body. I thought that was pretty, very nice. And then I had a harvest gold for my other tail. What is left is the beak and the wattle. So the beak could be out of the orange, and then I had a little bit of ruby here that I used for the wattle. And you just need to cut one of those. You could probably look at the pattern and just freehand cut that out if you wanted to. All right, so here's the tail that I had traced before, and I took this to the sewing machine. I had my marking there, and I found a stitch that I wanted to use, and in this case it's the blanket stitch or applique stitch, and adjusted the length and the width to what was satisfactory for me. You can choose what you like. Or if you like to do a lot of hand applique and you want to get out the floss and do a blanket stitch that way, you can certainly do that. So I just used the sewing machine and stitched around here. Make sure you leave an opening at the bottom, because we are going to put some polyester fiber fill in here. We're going to stuff our turkey a little bit. What turkey isn't stuffed at Thanksgiving, right? And then we are going to, once we've got that stitched, we're going to go ahead and trim that. As you can see, I started to do that. Put a little bit of stuffing in there, and then, now don't overstuff it. I made that mistake and I had to take some out. So don't overstuff it. Less is best at this point. Even when you're cooking, they recommend not overstuffing the turkey, right? So go ahead and then take it back to the machine and finish stitching that opening shut. You're going to repeat that. I changed the color on my tail. I used a ruby tail. Maybe you like that color better. So I got a ruby tail here, and then you're going to stitch around the body, and we have our wings that we could add in here. Let me show you what you're going to do to put this all together. We're going to use some hot glue to put this together, but before you do that, I want you to go ahead and get your buttons sewn on. So get the two little eyes on. We've got three buttons going down the front of our turkey. And then if you looked at this one, there were 7. I used colorful buttons on each of the tail fins here. So go and sew those on before we assemble this. So we're going to get those buttons sewn on. I made a little bit of a bow tie here. This is just using some fabric, but you could use a ribbon and sew that together and tie that on. And you could go ahead and just tack on the beak at the top, and then the wattle fits that right up on top of that. And I just did some little hand stitches to hold that in place. Again, just enough to keep it in place. It doesn't need to be secured to the point where it's going to get roughed up. So keep it that way. The first thing you want to do is to set your wings down, and we've got our wing tips pointed out and up. That's the best way I can say to do that. And figure out where you like those placed underneath the body of your turkey. Once you've done that, you're going to take the body off and just put a couple of dabs of hot glue right up here in the middle of those wings, and then set your turkey down on top. Put the turkey a little bit below the wings. All right? So we're going to pretend that that is glued down tight. The next thing you're going to do is to take your small tail. Now this one is stuffed, and you'll notice that it's not overly stuffed. It's kind of a flat stuffing, but it's got a little bit of cushion, makes it a little more three-dimensional. And we're just going to put a little small bead of hot glue, and then we're going to put our turkey on top of that, but stand it up and make sure that the bottoms are level. You're going to repeat that. Let's pretend this was stuffed and ready to go. A little stream of hot glue there. Make sure our bottom is level, and you're done. You are ready for Thanksgiving and decorating that table. So I hope you have enjoyed this, and I hope you have a good holiday. If you are interested in any of the patterns that I've shown here in this video series, you are welcome to call the store and we can get those sent out to you. They are just $5 each, and we can get those out to you either by email in a PDF format, or we can send a paper copy through the mail. Just give us a call.